G'day fellas and welcome to a casted game. Spawning in on the east side of the map, we've got TheMista, who is playing as the Holy Roman Empire. On the opposite side of the map, we've got Don Artie, who spawns in playing as the Abbasid Dynasty. The map, of course, is Hill and Dale, and this game is part of the series between these two guys as they look towards the final. So the winner of this will go on to the final in this series, or in this bracket, and they'll be going up against what appears to be highly likely 3DB, an incredible player from Russia who has been climbing up the ranks. So we'll have to wait, we'll have to see. At the moment, the score, it's currently 1-0 in favor of Mr. So Don has got to win this game, otherwise he is potentially out. So that is very, very important for Don to win this game. This is Don Artie's home map, so he's playing as the Abbasid on this map, and it's great to see the Abbasid getting picked up once again. So this is the second game in a row we've seen the Abbasid picked. Obviously, last game they were picked up by TheMista, and this game they're going to be picked up by Don Artie. Now, interesting spawn here for TheMista. Take a look at this one. We have got a very, very forward gold mine. Look at that, right at the entrance. You know, I think he's very fortunate he's not playing against Mongols. Could you imagine that, playing against Mongols? That thing seems really far away. Now, obviously, I mean, it's, how far away is that one? Yeah, this one's a bit closer, isn't it? It's, yeah, an unfortunate spawn. I'm surprised it spawned there. It should have probably spawned, like, right here instead. But, I'm sure he'll live with it. I'm sure he'll live with it. Now, he's opened up with a prelate, obviously. But it just looks like the one scout for the moment. Don, on the other hand, has picked up 5 sheep so far. Mr. only sitting on 1 sheep. But we do actually have the second scout that he did open up with down to the south. Now, on Don's side, Don has actually only gone for the 1 scout opening. We already see him putting down that House of Wisdom. So looking to get that age up ball rolling nice and quick. Going to be going for a lumber camp. So no berry opening for Don. But is now going to be going for his age up. So probably going to be seeing the wheelbarrow build. You guys know I love a good Dark Age wheelbarrow build with Don Artie. He is infamous for doing it. So we'll have to wait. We'll have to see how he plays it out. But how do we expect this game to go? What do we expect to happen this game? So let's talk a little bit about where things should be going, or where things may be going. So ideally, what the Holy Roman Empire player wants to do is he wants to take control of these relics. So you can see down on the bottom of your screen, these little relics. I'm highlighting them up, giving them a nice little circle. There are 5 relics that have spawned in on the map. 3 of them look relatively close to Don Artie. 3 of them look relatively close to TheMista. So I'd say it's pretty balanced on this. So he's going to want to grab these 3 relics. It's really important that he does. If he doesn't, he's going to be in a difficult position. And that's what Don Artie is going to be doing. So we can suspect, or expect, I guess, but I mean, we can also suspect it, that Don Artie will be looking to play early aggression. So I don't think we're going to be seeing a second town center out of him. If we do, it's probably going to be a bit later than what you would normally expect. But I would suspect that he is probably going to be looking to get out onto the map, maybe even look to wall in TheMista. Now, by the same token, I would expect that TheMista is going to be aware of this, and Mr. is going to have a plan. He knows that he can't just come into the game and go for, you know, a standard fast castle like, you know, 90% of people on the ladder will do. He has to actually think outside the box and think, okay, well, my opponent is going to look to deny my relics, so I've got to do everything that I can to fight them and then get up to the next stage and take those relics back. So we'll see how he goes, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see a lot of cavalry on a map like this. Infantry always an option, but just the primary thing is if you take a look at the way that the bases have spawned, they've got this hill that they each spawn on, and then the dale in the middle. It's very open down here, so if we take a look towards their bases between it there, it's just a very wide opening. It takes a long time to get there, so highly unlikely that we're going to be seeing a lot of infantry, at least in the early stages of the game. But Don Artie, now reaching the feudal age, we'll check in with him, we'll see how he's doing. Going to be going towards a mining camp, so Don doing his world-famous build, I think. It is indeed the wheelbarrow coming out, and then the fresh foodstuffs, and then there'll be a stable drop down any second. Maybe any second? There it is. There we go. So stable drop down for Don Artie. No real surprises there. On the other side of the map, so we'll expect for Don to add in a second town center, probably around the 7-minute mark. But we'll check in with Mister. We'll see how he is doing. A lot of gold stacked up for him, so probably going to be dropping down a mill sometime soon. There's the stable, but I would expect that we probably see a mill down here. What is he doing with all that gold? I mean, you are saving up for a bank with that. I mean, you're not even putting your money in the bank. You're saving up for the actual bank itself. Interestingly, in Age of Empires 3, do you guys know that there is a bank? So I know a lot of you guys on the channel, the OGs, you'd be familiar with Age of Empires 3, but some of the newer guys, since we picked up Age of Empires 4, you guys would probably haven't played that game, but they actually have a building called the bank. Oh, nothing gives me nostalgia like a bank. Oof, the Dutch get those banks, and man, they generate some gold. Let's just say that much. Double stable opening here from the Mister, so no real surprise there. It was something that I expected when it comes to a map like this, and now we see that mill coming down, so a bit of a delay on the professional scouts here, but it is going to make a lot of sense, and he's going to be opening up with the horseman, and we'll check in with Don. We'll see what he's up to. So Don going for a blind archery range and stable, and this is where sort of Don falls apart, I would say. So you know, I often talk about Don and how he's this amazing character who never really needs to scout because he always knows what his opponent is going to do. This is one of the times that he has sort of failed. He's gone for a stable and an archery range, and you guys want to know what beats a scissor and a paper? A rock and a scissor. Actually, does it? A rock and a scissor. Yes, it does. Yeah, I think it does. Yeah. God, that was a really hard analogy. Well, you want to know what beats a stable and an archery range? 2 stables. And that's exactly what Mister has gone for. That was much easier, Drongo. Let's forget about the analogies for today, all right? We'll pick up the allergies. We'll pick up the analogies tomorrow. Out the back, it looks like professional scouts still yet to be picked up, but about to come through any second now. I can smell it. I can smell it. I can smell it. It makes perfect sense on a map like this, but we'll have to wait. Oh my god, he actually didn't. What's he doing? He's dropping down a house. Look at the house placement here for Mister. I like this a lot. This makes a lot of sense. This is a map where you have very limited base space. Is that right? The right way to say it? You don't have a lot of space in your base. So what Mister is going to do is to maximize the space he's got in his base. He's going to put his houses right at the back here. It makes a lot of sense. So really, really nicely played by Mister. We'll check in over in the middle of the map, and you can see Don Hardy going to be chasing away some of his units. Horsemen getting scouted out here. Now, keep in mind, no upgrades on these bad boys just yet, but Mister with a huge, massive horseman already. The double stable just demonstrating how strong it is. We'll check in with the double stable back here, and he is still just making full double stables and no professional scouts, just instead gathering up the 600 gold and falling back. And I think this is such a smart move. You got to really think about this, okay? He knows Don might be looking to play cavalry as well. If he loses that potential gold mine, he's going to be in a difficult spot. But Don on the backhand, Don going to be going for a town center, sneaky town center on the front line. He knows he can get away with this just simply because his enemy is playing as the Holy Roman Empire, and he's going to be looking to fast castle. But very, very nice moves there from Mister. One of the things I just want to note or talk about, we saw him gathering up all that gold, and we assumed, okay, he's probably doing professional scouts. He's going double stable, so it's going to be easy for him to add in those additional scouts. He never needed to. The gold was only just being gathered up because he needs to have that gold ASAP. Now, he's obviously done the math, and he's realized, I can gather up my gold with 3 or 4 villages, and at the same time still be able to get out enough units to be able to deal with my enemy. I can get full production going, and that's exactly what he's got going. Like, he's got full-time production at this point in time. He's doing incredibly well. Obviously, the Archon Chapel is out there providing that wonderful line of sight, or that wonderful area of effect. Missing out on a couple of the units out here, but obviously he's got the Prelate out there, and the mass coming out now from Mister is just absolutely insane. This guy has got a crazy build order for the Holy Roman Empire on this map. I gotta say, I absolutely love this. I'm probably gonna watch this and steal it and look to just take it over and try and make it my own. But obviously, Mister gonna do it incredibly well. And now you can see that with that large mass that Mister has got, he's been able to secure up a foothold here. And Don has gone for that second town center. Now you want to start asking the questions. Don, would you allow or would you be happy to go up with your second town center if you know that doing so is going to enable your enemy to get 3 relics? And I'm sure Don would probably say, you know what, I actually wouldn't. But I'm guaranteeing you Don has probably done the math, and he's thought, I reckon I can hold off. I can outproduce this Holy Roman Empire guy. There's no way he's going to be able to go up to the castle age and match my units. But it really just seems like the double stable opening here from Mister was very smart. Now, one of the things to note is that horsemen have got a bonus against ranged units. Now, what is Don making? He's making horsemen as well as ranged units. We talked about this a little bit earlier with the rock, paper, scissors and the attempt at an analogy or a metaphor. But Don has got ranged camels. Now, these guys are still ranged, so they do take extra damage, but one of the things to note is they provide that aura. So, Camel Unease is going to be providing an aura that reduces the damage here by 20%. So, they should be going from 9 down to 7. We'll have to see how they do. You can see, yeah, going down to 7 damage there. So, doing a lot less damage. Basically, like you're giving +2, but you can see that Mr. doing a great job of getting in on the back line here towards these camels. He's taken out the first one. Second two are in here. He's got to try and screen for these guys, but just such a big mass coming out for the Mr. I don't think the camels really matter at this point. He's able to overwhelm his opponent and just completely destroy him at the same time going up towards the third age. Now, keep in mind, Don's decided to invest his resources in the town center. Mr. decided to invest his in the third age. Now, Mr. overwhelming his opponent completely at this point. Regnitz Cathedral going to be going up. And I feel like at this point, it is probably just good game. So, you know, we see there's a relic down here towards the south. It's about to get picked up, continuing to do well. And now he's obviously going to be transitioning into knights. So we see the first knight in queue now. And that is going to mean that it is a very difficult uphill battle, quite literally an uphill battle here for Don Artie. But he's going to continue pushing out. We can see there's a few units lying in wait. That single camel back there going very slow. This is why you don't group your units together. Look how slow that camel runs. It's going to get picked off as well. Oh, that was a nice little cover right there for Don. But unfortunately, I don't think that camel is... yeah, that camel's gone. Gone skis. But a single prelate coming out and a little bit of healing going to be going down. We'll check in with Don. We'll see how he's doing. It looks like he's decided he's going to have to wall up on the edges of his map. But keep in mind, there are a lot of relics out there to be taken. And from here, I mean, Mr. is just sitting in the driver's seat, really. It all depends on Mr. to throw this game at this point. In my opinion, you know, unless Mr. deletes all of his villagers at this point, he's going to win the game. First relic coming back in towards that town center, the one that was closest to him. There is a second relic that I think has already been picked up. We'll have to double check, but there's a bit of a fight happening out in the middle of the map. The first knight going to be out in battle. This is a guy to watch right here. He's going to be putting out so much damage. Look how much damage he's putting out. Barely takes any as well. Keep in mind, 9 damage here, so he's going to be only taking 5 because of that 4 armor. He's doing well. Second one, and now we've got a relic being picked up. A Wallalol going to be happening here as well. If he's not careful, he's going to lose these. Don Artie trying, and he looks like he's going to be able to take down that prelate just in time, keeping it alive. And still we see that mass beginning to build, though, of knights, and this is where it really becomes a little bit concerning for Don. We'll check the stables and see what's getting made. Yeah, it's just double knights getting made now at this point. And there might be a little bit of a lull here in the units that are coming out for Mr. But I assure you, it is not at any point going to be of a concern for him. Second relic now going to get picked up and secured towards that. And beautiful micro here. Such a smart move to do this. So he's pulling away the enemy units with his weakened units, and he's winning smaller fights over on this front. So he's just enabling himself to just have really good trade. So you can see he picks off 1, 2, 3 horses just for his 2, despite having a significantly smaller mass. So, I mean, throughout this series, the one thing that we have seen is the Mr. is the micro god. Like, I watch him and I am in awe at how beautiful it is. Prelate going to be bringing in that relic. Second one coming in now. So the 3 remaining relics on the map, we can take a look and see where they are. So first one outside Don Artie's base. Second one also outside Don Artie's base. Third one in the middle of the map. It was moved a little bit. I think it started off here. I think it started off like right there, but it came a bit over. Yeah, it's a little bit closer to Mr.'s base. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a second prelate coming out to pick it up. At the moment, no line of sight out in that direction. No walls towards the south either. But it's not really going to matter too much for him. And now we see that prelate with 33 health trying its best to come through. The town center actually firing off a couple of shots. I'm sure the knights will come to the aid of our religious friend as he stands idly by. I suspect we're probably going to have a little bit of a prelate switcheroo here. No prelate inside the Archon Chapel at the moment. Bit of an oversight there from Mr. Unless he sent it out. Ideally, yeah, you'd go put this prelate inside, make yourself a couple more. But he's going to be heading up on the way to Imperial shortly, I suspect, after he secures that third relic. Don on the other side of the map going for the House of Wisdom upgrade, the Culture Wing. So looking to do that. But now we see the masses beginning to build. The cavalry wars continue. And Mr.'s micro is just one of those things which is really going to make the difference. In fact, I don't even think he's going to need to micro at this point. I think he's just going to be able to A-move, and he's going to be able to achieve victory in these fights. Those knights are just so damn strong. When it comes to the early knight, it's definitely something that you can contest against. The royal knight as well, but up against these veteran or these castle age knights, it's so difficult. They've got that extra armor, they've got the extra health, extra attack as well, and they've just got all those things going for them. But now it looks like we might have some units moving out across the map, potentially to do some raiding, and it does look indeed like we're having that. So Don doing the right thing and walling up, but now Don heading towards the front of his enemy's base. Gonna be trying to pick up a couple of villages here. He manages to get on top of the berries. He surrounds them, but I think he's forgotten the fact that he's only using horsemen, and he's not using knights. If he was using knights at this point, he would be shredding through these villages. But, like, unironically, like, you can see there's, like, 1, 2, 3, 4 villages here that are dead, maybe, and all of the army is dead as a result. So, Mr. getting a great trade there. Keep in mind, he's going to be going up to Imperial very shortly, and when he does, it's going to be the Palace of Swabia, and it's going to be a lot of villagers. So we're at 15 minutes now. I would expect that he is going to be heading up to the Imperial Age before the 20-minute mark. But we'll have to wait and see how he plays it. And look at this beautiful raid coming in down here towards the south. Don tried to expand out towards the center. There's actually plenty of villagers out here, but not a lot of defense. This knight just being able to tank so much of the damage as well. But securing up the center of the map, we'll check in with the Mista, see how he's going with regard to picking up that third relic. He might just actually stay out in the third age. We'll see what his infrastructure looks like. 3 stables, 1 barrack at the moment. One barrack at the moment. 1 barracks at the moment. And so that's going to mean that he's got a huge amount of army coming out. And actually the 15 villages on wood is probably what tells me most that he might be staying in the third age. But towards the base now of his opponent, it looks like a raid getting picked up there by a few lancers. But Don Artie going to be forced off this food source and into his base. You can see 46 villagers on food right now. All of these bad boys want to be out on food, but they can't. So he's going to have 46. Did I say 46 on food? I meant 46 on wood. But now Don adding in a couple more farms on the back here, and that's probably where a lot of his resources are going to be. But keep in mind, while he is adding those farms in, and keep in mind he is on 71 villages here compared to the Mista, who is on 47. So we've got a villager difference of 24. That Mista at the same time is just continuing to add in military here. He's basically going all in at this point, but he's just got the power of those relics there as well. Keep in mind, looks like 2 relics on the map. The third one has been snagged from the top. We don't see it coming in just yet. There it is, coming in slowly. So Mista picking up the third relic for himself. He's going to be very happy with that. And now heading into the base of his opponent, Don Artie, in a little bit of trouble here as the villagers are under attack. And you can just see that these villagers are not too long for this world, heading back towards that town center. But keep in mind, he's got that extra armor from having those castle age knights and just shreds through them. All the villagers sitting outside the town center. He could absolutely take them down. A couple crossbows now coming out for Don Artie. I think that's definitely going to be the appropriate move, but I'm wondering if it's too little too late. JoJo's hit song of 2005 is playing around in my head right now. And yeah, Don is the one that's singing at 20 villagers in that town center. 69 population. It continues to dwindle. It's down to 3 military population. Everything is getting absolutely slaughtered. Meanwhile, over on the other side of that, Mista continues to rally units in towards Don Artie's base. If Don Artie loses this game, he is going to be tapping out. He's not going to be coming to Berlin, and he does indeed tap out. He will not be coming to Berlin, at least not as a member of the caucus, not as a member of the party that is specially invited. But the Mista may be. The Mista will go on to the finals, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Good night.